Oh! Oh! Sounds like a factory site. My name's Quinlan, and this is Melbourne Musos Live. I've got a severe case of polyrhythmia.
All right, would you tell him to just relax, and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama didn't raise no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jeff.
Yes, my friend, I'll take them out for a little while. As I said, my name is Quinlan. And what I'm going to do tonight is talk about a little bit about resolution points and polyrhythmia, polyrhythms in other words, and how resolution points with the vaping stroke, the vaping, can help you get some of these advanced figures, a la Dream Theater, a la Tool, a la Frank Zappa, and everybody else in between. You'll be surprised at how polyrhythmic some things are, if you know what I mean. What sometimes happens is that you might be playing a simple figure, and then you overlay the figure with another figure, which is in itself fairly straightforward. And next thing you know, you've got something fairly complex happening here, you see. One of the things I did just then, within all that cacophony, was a 3 against 4 polyrhythm. Can you see the vip? The vip! Now, what I'll do is I'll pull back a little bit, and one of the main polyrhythms, actually probably the main one, is the 3 against 2 polyrhythm, which is often called the hemiola. Okay, sounds like something you need a cream for. I've done that joke before. I had to teach one of my students a boom tish. He didn't know what it was the other night. I've gone, oh my God, I should put it in a book or something. Anyway, what happens is that generally speaking, we use the common denominator method, you see. If you've got a rhythm in 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you have another rhythm in 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and you want them to meet at the same place, what you do is you multiply the two numbers together. So 2 times 3 is 6, you see. So what happens is that you set the numbers against each other. So what happens is to get the 3, you play every 2. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hail Caesar! Sorry, I've done that one before too. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To get the 2, you do it every 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the most easiest way to sort of get it done is to say something that's fairly straightforward. Nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea. And that's very much used everywhere. And then what happens is that you can do different things with the numbers. Now I'm going to put that on pause just for a little second there, and then actually talk about this idea of a resolution point. Now what happens is the resolution point between two rhythms is the point where they come together. You can do this anywhere. You don't even have to use music for this. If you're watching an athletics competition and they're doing laps, okay, so you're doing the 1500 meters, that kind of thing, Now, in a perfect world, at some point, the leader is going to overlap the straggler. You see, the first person and then the last. There's a point where it comes. Now, if in the mathematics of it all, if everyone's running evenly, at some point, it's going to come together, that kind of stuff. Now, that's really the essence of a polyrhythm, is that you're dealing with two kinds of speeds, if you will, and then what happens the point where they meet, the resolution point, you see. So you've got this. There's your resolution point. Now what happens is that then with the whip stroke and all this sort of biz, you can have a downstroke, upstroke. So if you're going to do 2, there's your 2. If I'm going to do 3, see the vipping, there it is there. Now if I put them together, you see? Then you move it around. Okay, there you go. You see, they go. Now, one of the things, I suppose, a couple of licks of mine, if you want to think of it like that, but there's all this kind of stuff, you see. Now, what goes on is that then there's a 3 against 2 polyrhythm, you see. But one of the things that you can do is work with that resolution point, you see. Now, what goes on with this is that I might do, let's say, the 3. Okay, I'll slow it down a bit actually because I want to do a bit with it. There's that. Now, this is just straight times table stuff. If I just put in a single tap with the left hand, I now have 6. If I put in a double tap, you see, and I've got I now have 9. Now, double taps. If I double tap both, I've got 3, but I'm playing 4, 12, do you see? Now, if I'm going to put that in, and if I'm going to sort of do things with this, at the moment it's starting to sound a little bit cockamamie with numbers, you know, musical mathematics. But how would it be if I played something like a blues? You see, which one am I going to? I'll use these fellas here. I'm singing away a bit on the old right. Slow it down. See, they're now 9s. Now I could get, say, Now what I've got there, if you're doing it in triplets, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. You're actually playing a non-uplet, non meaning 9, you see. Now, if you're starting to do that, and you're doing other things, like I could go... There's 3 against 2 there, through the hi-hat there, do you see? See, there it is there. So you do it now, you're putting in the resolution point with other parts of your body there, sort of thing. You're doing it with your feet, sort of stuff. So you got that. If I splash it a bit, you see, now what can start to happen is that you can start doing different things with different kinds of ideas, you see. I hope I'm not going too quick. But what goes on there is that if you've got kind of a... There's one here, but I'm doing two with my feet, you see. Two on two. It's not a polyrhythm, it's just unison there. There's 4, 5, 6, triplets really, 7, Gina Lola Bridget. 8, double maybe, 9, get the idea, get it, got it.
Got it, good.
There it is, you see. Now what starts to happen is that you're starting to get working with the certain kinds of resolution points. Now if you're going to stay on the right hand, you could have, that's right, right, left, right, left, right, left. But when you go to the triplet, you've got that, but right, left, left is wonderful. 4 is just semi-quavers. But when you get to a quintuplet, 5, I use right, left, right, left, left. Do you see? There's 6. Sextuplet. It's just a doubled triplet. Or here's where we break things down. Or you could be doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then triplematize them. Is that a word? Now that can depend on the subdivision of the song, you see. So if you're doing something like in 3/4, it'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3, and it's 3 groups of 2. And then if you're doing 6/8, it's 2 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get your teeth together, Chris, like that. And I hope that I've often talked about this because it's a bit of a thing with various musicians. People think that 3/4 is the same as 6/8. It ain't. It's not, because 3/4 is 3 notes to the value of 3 crotchet beats per bar, whereas 6/8 is notes to the value of 6/8 notes per bar, and it's a compound time, so it's 2 groups of 3. Whereas 3/4 is 3 groups of 2. It's just playing with numbers, but it certainly is a different feel. You see, get it? Got. So what happens then is that you're doing things like that. Now, what happens is if you're staying with your right hand, like I said, you can use your right, left, right, left, left. See there's the resolution point. You see. With 6, as I said, it's... And then with 7, you've got the Gina Lola Bridget, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Like that. 8, just 4s, doubled, or double stroked. Take 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. There you go. All right. Get it?
Yeah,
good. And then what happens then is that you can start doing things polyrhythmically, if you will, depending on what you want to do, you see. Now what happens is if you're going to get a few things done, one of the little things that sometimes happens, Andy Newmark, who knows that name? I've mentioned him before on the show. I love mentioning drummers that don't get the same kind of breath as, say, the Steve Gadds, the Vinnie Colaiutas and everybody else in the world. Andy Newmark is still is, I believe, a great New York drummer. He used to play with Brian Ferry, Keith Emerson, not Emerson, Lake and Palmer, when Keith Emerson was going solo and stuff like that. And he did an article in Modern Drummer magazine called Quintuplet Rock. And so what you might have this, like... there it is there. Getting the idea of it all. So, right, left, left. You see, otherwise you'd be doing this. Which is not wrong, it's just awkward, you see. So what you want to start doing is getting a few different things on automatic with the resolution points, you see. Now, if I'm using my hi-hat like a bit of a practice pad here, what starts to happen is that you sort of want to get a few things on automatic with the resolution point, the vaping. We do it already if you're getting a bit funky, right? You see? I'm singing split ends. I'd get sacked for that. I fell into Split Enz. I've been listening to them. This was such a wonderful band. I just got into them. A few colleagues of mine played some of their stuff, and I was listening to it last week, and I was going, there it is, wonderful stuff. Moving right along. So there you go. You get that. Then you can start doing that with your threes. You see. And then the aforementioned. There's your 4 against the 3. When you do it slowly with the common denominator method that I was talking about before, when I started all this, that's fantastic. However, there gets to a point where your tongue will fall out. You know, that kind of thing. Like that. So you say something, and I was saying nice cup of tea for 3 against 2. But with 4 against 3, one of the wonderful ones is see the big fat piggy. So you get see the big fat piggy, see the big fat piggy, see the big fat piggy, see the big fat piggy. However, see the big fat piggy, you end up being a great auctioneer, which would be good because they get paid more than us.
$10, $10,
you start getting your resolution points, you see. So if you've got your 4s going, vaping, 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 vaping. And then you can get polymeters. Oh, you can say you got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. I'm doing a 5 inside a 3. And then... and watch the dancers fall over. Sacked, Chris, sacked. There you go. Oh, there it is. So what goes on then? If you're doing a blues, there it is there. One of the things that actually happens with stuff like that is what's lovingly called the Liverpool jangle, a la the Beatles and some of the others. Although it did derive throughout 50s rock and roll, but people lovingly call it the Liverpool jangle, where you might have the boys in the band playing straight quavers, but there's Ringo up the back doing a shuffle, like Hard Day's Night and stuff like that. So what you've got is essentially a kind of a 3 against 2 kind of thing happening, and it's jangly. Listen to early Beatles and you'll see what I mean. But it also happens with people like Little Richard and stuff like that, whom the Beatles loved, and Little Richard eventually loved them too. They were good friends in the end. And what starts to happen is these polyrhythms bob up in the craziest of places, because what can sometimes happen with that is you could be playing a blues or something like that, or a rock beat, but then you put in a triplet in a rock beat, or then you could do vice versa. If you're doing a blues triplet based, and then you put in semiquavers, you see. So there's a lot of 4 against 3 happening without you really knowing. You're just going with the flow. Now when you're doing your 3s, you could have there's your non-uplet. There's your dozen, I call them dozen uplets. That's what they are. You're doing 12 against a 2 there. And it just keeps on going. So what starts to happen is that sometimes you can play certain figures that actually come out sounding quite tricky, but really the essence of them are fairly straightforward kind of thing. It's a figure inside a figure, and it's really just times tables. I was just doing 3 times 3 there to get a 9, that sort of stuff, you see. And then if I did 4s, well, I get 12 over 2. And if you break it all down, it's kind of like a 3 against 2, you see. When I'm doing 4 against 3, you see, when you think of things like that, the common denominator is 12. It just keeps on going, you see. That's what happens. Now, if you're doing things like that, then if you've got your... I'll go back to mallets so you can hear me a little bit better. So I'm doing quintuplet, but it sounds like... but I'm putting a backbeat in. So what I'm doing there is I'm putting a bit of air in with the hi-hat, but with the little rim shot with the mallet, that kind of thing. Ouch! What it is there is that you're actually putting in quintuplets, but when I'm putting in the bass drum, say a double, there's your 5 against 2 polyrhythm, you see. So all of a sudden, things that can be sounding quite, or sounds complex, but really you're hearing this. Get it? Got it? Good.
Get it? Got it? Good. Get it? Got it? Good. Get it? Got it? Good. Get it? Got it? Good.
better think about wrapping the show up. Oi! So what goes on is that you notice that automatic little thing with the resolution point and the VAPing, you've got right, left, you see. Frank Zappa used to use fives like that a lot. Hippopotamus, and sold. There you go. You end up sounding like an auctioneer. So I'll wrap the show up. But that's a little thing there. Now, when you're doing your vaping and all that, you've got a lot of what I was doing tonight, actually most of what I was doing tonight, rudimentarily, is just the single stroke roll, double stroke roll, and all the figures to get your numbers, you see. So if it's threes, lots of right, left. Can you hear the little
Tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She gonna catch up on the rebound on the meds, huh?
What it is, Big Mama? My mama done raised no dummies. I done the rap.
Cut me some slack, Jeff.
I don't know if split ends used quintuplets. I don't wanna stay. Tonight, preachers walk My name is Chris Quinlan. I don't work. I don't wanna stay. I wanna stay tonight. Oh boy, how did I end up doing that? Anyway, my name's Chris Quinlan. It is Melbourne Musos live, and there you have it. And I hope you got something about out of polyrhythmia and resolution points, common denominator, everything else. Oh man, I need a nice glass of